give people the benefit of the doubt today on Fortitude through Stoicism, and this is my 365-day journey of implementing the ancient philosophy of Stoicism into the life of this modern masculine man. We make assumptions, don't we? Almost instinctually by nature. One of my favorite books is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and my biggest takeaway from that is one of the agreements is don't make assumptions. And what he really talks about is, people are living their life as if, they're sitting in a movie theater watching it through their own eyes, essentially. That's their reality. And so they make these assumptions, but you don't realize from your perspective, you're making a bunch of assumptions about that person. But God, they have a million other things going on in their life, right? And 9 times out of 10, the assumptions that we're making in our head, we build up all that emotion about it, ends up not even being true, and we wasted all that energy. So today's quote by Marcus Aurelius: everything turns on your assumptions about it, and that's you. You can pluck out the hasty judgments at will, and like steering a ship around the point, you will find calm seas, fair weather, and a safe port. So Ryan Holiday talks about a quote here from Supreme Court Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes. Even a dog distinguishes between being stumbled over and being kicked. Yet, if you first accidentally step on a dog, you realize the first thing you're going to do is bark, yelp, something's going to happen, and they're going to realize it's you, hear your soft, calm voice, and the tail goes back to wagging. A virtuous person does not jump to hasty judgments about other people. A virtuous person is generous with assumptions that something was an accident. Someone didn't know. Maybe it won't happen again. This is one that I admittedly struggle with, right? So this is about the practical application of this philosophy in my life, the implementation of this. Well, admittedly, yeah, I guess you could say I'm judgy, because people that are in my inner circle, right, they already understand that it's a high bar of excellence. That's what it is. So for me, I would make assumptions about maybe it's disrespect. They didn't follow through because they don't have enough respect for my boundaries or for my standards or for whatever it may be. What we got to realize, though, is people, we're human. And even though I push myself to insane levels and I track it so I literally can, I got to realize that some days I wake up and my recovery is a 40 or a 30 or a 20. And you're right, I am not at my 100%. I am not the best that I can be on that day. So can someone make an assumption I didn't give a shit about it? Or can someone make an assumption that maybe I'm not committed to the project? Or maybe someone can make an assumption that maybe I don't have the talent. But in reality, we have bad days. In reality, we can only pour from a cup with as much contents that are in it. So if you start the day with 40% in that cup, you have to realize that that's all that you can give. And then the fourth agreement in those 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz is you have to accept that 40% is all you have and be content with giving that 40%. Not 41, not 39, but you give it your all and be satisfied that you gave 100% of what you had. Not 100%, but 100% of what you had in the tank, you left on the proverbial field. I have pushed a lot of people away. True story. Personally, professionally, romantically. It is a challenge. And I wrestle with this. Nick Saban. I go back to Nick Saban. Is that a gun? Wasn't shooting at me, thank God. Nick Saban was relentless on his players. And he said it was his responsibility to get football players on the bus and the kids that just want to wear the jerseys off the bus. And again, I reflect on the life. Remember, in philosophy, I've been talking about this, I've been learning. Plato, a lot of it's ideology, right? But Aristotle talks about observation, experience, real observation through life. And one of my experiences when I was young, I had a coach that said, hey, listen, we played with the minimum number of kids that you needed to field a football team. It was 21 kids. We'd go up against kids that have teams that have kids down the sidelines. 50, 60, 70 kids. My coach said, he goes, I want to play with 21 football players and not 55 kids wearing a jersey. Same thing as Nick Saban. And it rings true, doesn't it? Because I don't want bodies on my team just to fog a mirror. I want impact players. I want people that are going to raise the tide with me, not just go along for the ride with me. So yes, perhaps we can give people the benefit of the doubt, but the question I ask is, how far does that extend? Is it a continual thing? Or is it a progressive thing where we start out and that quickly diminishes? What's the answer? It's your life. I know for me, I will tell you this. I've lost a lot of people. But I've found really, really amazing people through that process. Yeah, I've lost a lot of people that I still love from a distance. But I have found people in my life that accept me for my authentic self, not for the version they wanted, but for me. Ryan Holiday leaves us with this. He says, be deliberate and accommodating with your assumptions about other people, and you'll find, as Marcus says, calmer seas and fairer weathers. And I say, be deliberate with your standards and unaccommodating with your boundaries and void of assumptions. Because then and only then will you truly find peace. You'll surround yourself with an inner circle that is worthy of you. You are worthy of high functioning, high quality, trauma-free people. Talk about the last experience here. I'm going to break and shift into something personal. I'm in a master-slave roundtable discussion monthly with a lot of other masters in the area. And we were talking about traumas and healing, and in our lifestyle, is it okay to heal within the lifestyle, or do you do your healing before you get into what we do? The answer that we found, and through all this, was it's about the result, not the method, right? So what I mean by that is being aware of a trauma trigger, accepting it, being aware, then accepting it, and taking the accountability to work on that, to have those conversations. And so what we were talking about is you go through that process, and now I'm able to speak to people openly about things that have happened to me. I share that because I make a lot of assumptions in the past, and now the opposite of that is vulnerability. Just speaking your truth. You're not making assumptions. Say, hey, here's who I am, here's what I got. That person's going to take that or they're not. but you have spoken your truth. And that is in alignment with Stoicism. So again, I find a lot of patterns in a lot of the stuff that I'm doing. It's interesting. So if you focus on the patterns through all these different philosophies and ideologies and success stories, that's the key. Find the patterns in the success stories, then implement them into your life. It's beautiful here in sunny Tampa, but I gotta get on a plane and go to Vermont. Time to break out the winter coat, y'all. And on that, we're out of here.